Hello everyone, welcome to Maker Monday. We're going to learn quite a few things tonight. Let's get into it.
Today we're going to be talking about Easel. Now, Easel is the program that we use alongside of our two CNC machines, Xcarve and Carvey. Now, the cool thing about Easel is that it is a program that you can run from any computer that has a web browser. So what that means is that you can go home, sign in with your account, work on your design, and then come into the library, sign into our computer with our CNC machines, and then just pull up your account and your project will be there waiting for you. So that is a very neat opportunity that you have with Easel. Now, right now, I'm just on Inventable's website, so we'll go ahead and explore Easel. Now, it already signed me in, but all you need is an account, and the basic account is free, so you don't have to worry about paying for anything. But if you notice right here, this is the home screen. It shows all the projects that I have worked on recently. So what I'll do is just start up a new project up here in the top right. And the basic screen is going to look a little something like this. Now, the first thing that I always like to do is set up my machine. So we'll just come up here to the machine tab. And we'll just do an example right here with Carvey, but if you were working with another machine, say like Xcarve, you would just select the corresponding machine. The next thing I'll do is set up my material. Now, the material is listed up here by default in the top right hand corner. It is the birch plywood, but let's say that I was doing an example with some HDPE. So I would just scroll through the material types and come down here to the two color HDPE. And I can even go so far as to change the specific colors. So maybe I wanted a blue on white. Then I can select the material dimensions. So I know that our example will be 5.875 by 5.875 by 0.25. And you can see over here on the right hand side, that's our simulation area. It shows the material. You can also see in our design area on the left hand side, we have this dotted box that represents the material as well. Now on the far left hand side, we have a bunch of different drawing functions. So at the very top here, we have some basic shapes that I can import and drag around, resize, all that fun stuff. And of course, there are also circles, triangles, and stars, all that fun stuff. Now, one thing that's helpful to remember is that if I import a shape, something like this square, and I go over here to the shape tab, whenever I have something selected, this little menu pops up. It shows me my position, size, angle of rotation, and corner radius. But what's helpful is that right now you can see that the size is 2 inches by 2 inches. Now, where that comes into play is if in the cut tab, right now it's just set to fill, and you can see here on the right it's just going to engrave that square. But if I wanted to cut all the way through it, let's say, obviously I'd want to change an outline. But that 2 inches that we were just talking about in the shape tab, that is represented by these blue lines on the design. So let's say I was cutting this out, and maybe instead of wanting it to cut out on the center, maybe I wanted it to cut either on the outside or the inside. And that'd be helpful if I wanted, maybe I was making like a coaster or something, and I knew that it had to be exactly 2 inches. Then I could change that on here to maybe say the outside. You can see that blue line changes, and then of course the shape that is cut out right here would be the perfect 2 inches by 2 inches. So that is helpful to keep in mind. So I'll just go ahead and remove that. Also along the left hand menu here, we have a line tool, a drill tool, we have a text tool. There's some different fonts, so just come in here and type something in. So kind of just JCPL, our library. Just below that we have our icon library. And I'm actually going to take a pause on this. I'll come back to it here in a second. And down here at the very bottom we have an import tab. So we can import things like SVG, G-code. We can do an image trace. So if you have like a logo or an icon, a silhouette, outline, anything like that, you can import that and have it carve that out. You can also do a DXF import. But like I just said a second ago, what we will do today is work with the design library. So as you can see, there are tons of different designs that you can select in here. Let's just pick this dog right here. Now, so I have it imported, and one thing you'll notice, well, now that I resized it, kind of changed it, but right now that doesn't look like a whole lot, and that's because of our bit size. Now, if I wanted to make it show up more, and of course this in the simulation area is exactly what's going to carve. If I wanted that to show up better, I can do one of two things. I can either resize it, and you can see that gives me my detail back, or I can change the bit size up here in the top right. So by default, it is the 1/8 inch bit. Now here at the library, we offer customers both the 1/16 and 1/8 inch upcut bits. So if I change this to 16th now, you can see it shows a lot more detail. So two ways, again, either resizing or changing the bit size will help you get that more detail. Now another thing to keep in mind right now is that we are working in Carving, and Carving has this little area down here in the bottom left hand corner where it cannot cut anything. That's because of the homing mechanism. It's called a smart clamp. So because of that, you can't carve anything in the red zone. Of course our design is fine right now, but if I moved it like right here, that'd be a no-go. But just about there, that looks pretty good. Of course, as we were working with prior, we can always adjust the cut setting. Of course, we could do an outline, but I mean, for what we're working with right now, that just really wouldn't probably make a whole lot of sense. So that fill looks pretty good. And really, there's not a whole lot that we would have to worry about for this design. In the shape tab, I'm happy with the position just visually, and then the size and rotation, that's all good as well. So pretty much, just from a design standpoint, it's not too difficult here in Carving again, or in Easel I should say rather. We just set up our machine, we set up the material, the bit size, we either created or we import whatever we want to have on our design. And the final thing that I would recommend before you send the job over is to do a simulate, and that's just down here in the bottom right. And that's just going to show the tool pass as well as how long it's going to take. So with a 16th inch bit, it's going to take about 12 minutes. Now, at this size, I could probably go ahead and set this to be 1/8 of an inch. And if I simulate this, well, that takes about half the time. So that's also another helpful thing. You know, if you're working with a bigger design, you'll probably want to have a bigger bit. Now, whenever you go to clamp the material down, you'll definitely want to pay attention to these red tool paths. That's where the machine's going to move. So, of course, we would never want to clamp anything where those red lines or the design is. But that is something to think about, of course, once we are working with the machine. But that is Easel in a nutshell. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you again at the next Maker Monday here at Jessamine County Public Library.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you would like to see more Maker Monday videos, check out this playlist. You can also learn more about the JCPL Creative Space at www.jesspublib.org/creative space.